Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy. Navajo Mike's barbecue sauces, which started in 2020, blends old-fashioned style barbecue and hot sauces with the homegrown taste of Arizona with different herbs and spices. And I got to say, it's delicious. I love it. On the phone with us to tell us more is Michael John. He's the owner of Navajo Mike's. Mike, welcome back to Native Talk Arizona.
Good to be back.
Totally love your products. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that, but I do. I think they're great. I put them on lots of stuff, including potatoes and everything else. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you came up with all of this and what you do and everything else.
Yeah, my name is Michael John. I'm based here in Tempe, Arizona. My family is from Window Rock, Arizona, on the Navajo Nation. I was a chef for, 15 plus years, and, pandemic hit and I was out of a job. So the next thing I could think of was just, hey, let's start doing sauce. So, we started with barbecue sauces, and we went to hot sauces as well. And then our famous fried bread mix. And just recently we added, our smoked prickly pear barbecue sauce and blue cornmeal. So we have two additions onto our lineup. And we've been going since 2020. Every year's been better than the previous. It's been really fun. I've been getting really good, crowd reviews, websites, reviews, everyone, they really love it. So we just keep going.
So how'd you come up with hot sauce? Or barbecue sauce, or any of the products? Did you just wake up one morning and go, wow, there's nothing out there that I like and I need to create something?
Well, the thing is, they have Texas style, Kansas City, Carolina. There's nothing for the Southwest. So I was just like, oh, it'd be cool to kind of put a Southwest kick on barbecue sauce. So, that was the first thing we did. And then even with the hot sauces, working in kitchens, I made hundreds of sauces and kind of narrowed it down to the three favorite hot sauces, and I had the perfect opportunity to test everyone at the job at my work. So, tried the habanero Fresno and then the green chili, got it down perfect. And I was just like, let's throw hot sauce. It was my brother-in-law who was like, hey, when are you going to do hot sauce? And I was just like, that's a good idea, and went through my Rolodex of sauces that I have and picked the three favorite ones. And we got three different hot sauces now.
Okay, so let's backtrack to the barbecue sauce first. So with that, is that like a marinade, or do you just put that on the meat? I'm a vegetarian, so I'm not very good at this, but do you just brush it on when it's cooking, or do you marinate it? What do you do with the hot sauce or with the barbecue sauce?
All of the above. You can marinate things. I've put roasts in, slow cook them with the sauce. I use them. My daughter loves dipping her nuggets in them. You can do anything with them. I personally just love, smoking meat and then throwing the sauce on it and then enjoying it afterwards, or, toss some wings in there. And you can do anything with it, really.
So, Mike, which barbecue sauces do you have?
So we have our original Southwest flavor, our Skinwalker spicy barbecue, and our Scoden golden style barbecue sauce. And then our newest one, it was actually the first flavor I did, and we discontinued it just because of pricing, but now we got it under control. It's our smoked hickory prickly pear barbecue sauce.
And which is your most popular?
I would say, I think it's a close between the Skinwalker spicy barbecue and the Scoden golden. But since we've released the prickly pear barbecue, that one has been going kind of crazy. But out of all, I would say it's a toss between spicy barbecue and golden style.
Okay. So when you make a barbecue sauce, let's just say the prickly pear, do you actually cook the prickly pears and put them in, or the other ingredients?
What we do is you pretty much smoke them with hickory wood. You soak them for about 2 hours, and then, peel them, get out all the fibers and the juices, and then blend them. And then you just add that to your recipes of the sauces and stuff like that.
So, Mike, what's the difference between a barbecue sauce and a hot sauce?
So traditionally barbecue sauce. So you got your tomato base. You throw Worcestershire, your sugars, flavors, all that stuff. Apple cider vinegar. Hot sauce. Our hot sauces are vinegar based, so it's got the white vinegar. The water diluted a little bit. You have a bunch of chilies, peppers, spices, that kind of stuff. And it's more of just like of a flavor enhancer. So with barbecue, you can cook with it, which you can cook with hot sauce, but ideally everyone kind of just uses it as, oh, throw it on my burrito, throw it on my rice bowl, throw it on steak or stuff like that. So it's just, barbecue sauce, you got the tomato base, and then our Golden's like mustard base, and then hot sauces, mine specifically, are vinegar based.
Okay, so more like a condiment rather than cooking with it or basting or marinating with it. Okay. All right, just wanted to ask that. So, and I know that you said your little girl, she likes the barbecue sauce. Does she like any of the hot sauces?
Yeah, so for dinner, she asked for spicy rice, and I was like, okay. So we just get plain white rice, which she normally ate, but then she saw one of my bottles of the Monster Venom, and she's like, spicy rice. And I was like, okay, just a few drops in the rice bowl, mix it up, and she just eats it. And it's so crazy because it's not like crazy hot, but it's got really good flavor with some heat. And she can handle heat, which is insane. She eats like spicy or hot Cheetos, and it's insane. But no, she loves the Monster Venom hot sauce. She throws it on the rice and eats it all.
Okay, and which hot sauces do you have?
So we have the Fresno Chili Habanero, which is our Diamondback juice. And then we have Hatch Green Chili, which is our Sonoran Desert Drip. And our Dark Chili Smoky Hot Sauce, which is the Monster Venom.
Okay, all right. And then, so what other products do you have? I think you mentioned that you've got the fry bread mix and blue corn.
We have fry bread mix. It's just an add water mixture, super easy to make. It's our number one seller. We do amazing with it. And then recently we added blue cornmeal mix. So.
And what's in that? Is that just blue cornmeal?
Just blue cornmeal, organic. It's super simple. You can make the pancakes, the blue corn mush, muffins even, stuff like that. It's just a very simple ingredient to, substitute anything else that you want to do, like for pancakes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. And now, so let's go back to the fry bread mix. So you said is that your number one seller?
Yes, that's the number one seller for quite some time.
Wow. And then, so I'm assuming that people from all over the country or the world order it, and then you must ship, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Look at everything you've been doing in the past few years.
Oh, well, so with the fry bread, we have it on Amazon. It's Amazon Prime ready, everything. And it is actually the overall pick for Amazon. So we are the number one fry bread seller on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
So we've been keeping up with that. Our e-commerce, we've been staying very busy with that. Getting more wholesale accounts, just, trying to spread the word of Navajo Mike's and deliciousness, trying to get all over the country. And then even just recently we started a second company called Dene Decorative, and we're kind of doing these DIY kits. They're paint kits for like kids and older people, all ages. We're getting them into gift shops, casinos, different stores like that. That's been my new project as of late, the past 2 months.
I saw those. Those are pretty cool. So you're just coming out with that. So why'd you decide to expand? Just you wanted more products? You wanted more to do?
Yeah, I like to stay busy. I really blame it on my father-in-law, because in Christmas he gave me this tiny little laser engraver off Amazon that I just loved and started messing with it. Then a month later, I'm buying a bigger laser, and then a few months later, I'm buying an industrial laser. And next thing I know, my entire garage now is focused around this laser. And yeah, I love doing art. This is my way of kind of expressing artistically through art and my indigenous culture. and we were sitting down, and I had one of my paintings or wood cutting things that I did, and my wife was just like, "Hey, why don't you do a little DIY little kids kit so the kids can play or paint on them?" I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea," and messed around with different models and stuff like that. Next thing I know, I'm like, "Oh, okay, we got 3 solid ones." I'm like, "Why not start a business and try and get these out there?" So, 3 months ago a month or two ago, I got the LLC and started doing it.
Wow, that's awesome. So like you're not busy enough and your wife just gives you more, right?
Yeah, I know.
Um, so the idea is to get those into gift shops, and then are those going to be on Amazon, or is it just going to be local in Phoenix or Arizona? How are you going to market that or get those out?
So we do have our website, DeneDecorative.com. I have all my artisan stuff that I do, as well as these DIY kits. And we're going to eventually get them on Amazon. We currently have them at 3 different gift shops in Arizona. We're just trying. I'm just in the stages of getting everything situated and kind of reaching out to people, just kind of figuring out the things, the little gears here and there to make it work perfectly. And we're just see where this one goes.
I think
number 2.
Great idea. I've not seen anything like that.
So, oh yeah, no, and that's the thing. I go on Amazon, I see paint your own zebras and elephants and random house thing, and it's like, well, let's bring some indigenous culture to that kind of aspect, and kind of bring out our traditions and our stuff out more like that, and just kind of like something for kids. It's fun, it's cool, and super easy to do, and you can even do it. The whole family can do it.
Well, and I think it's educational, and especially like when you get tourists in and other people, visiting the valley or in Arizona, and they want a taste of the culture. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
And I know it's going to be super successful. But I want to go back to a second. I want to ask you I'm going to go back to the Navajo Mike's part, to the barbecue sauce. Do you have a favorite recipe?
So what I love to do is smoked pulled pork with our hatch green chili sauce. So I'll get, pork butt. I'll smoke it for 6 hours in either hickory or post oak, and then halfway process, I'll throw it in a slow cooker and then kind of glaze it with the hatch green chili Sonoran desert drip sauce and a bunch of other little things, and just slow cook the rest of the way for half a day, and just make fry bread, throw that on, and then top it off with some spicy barbecue, pico, green chili, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, that sounds really, really good. Now, were you classically trained?
I wasn't classic. I mean, it's one of those things where, Fort was 15, 16 years old. My buddy's dad had a restaurant, and I begged him to get me just a job to do anything. Started as a dishwasher, moved up to a cook, and just fell in love with the culture, the whole process of everything. And just next thing I know, 13, 14, 15 years later, I was working, doing kitchens, and it's the only thing I knew, and I loved it. I grew to love it. That was the thing. Didn't know I'd like it. I did.
That's pretty awesome. All right, so where do you see your business going after this? So after the decoratives, you've got Navajo Mike's, you've got your new company. What else do you think you're going to do, or what do you want to do?
Honestly, I just want to, see where this goes the next couple of years. Kind of get it to where I can get more employees to help with it, kind of take the weight off me a bit, and that's the question right there. I don't know. I mean, I was looking at making wallets. I like leather work, so I was like, oh, why don't I learn how to saddle stitch and do this? So who knows? Maybe we'll start a leather company. Who knows?
Like, pretty amazing, pretty awesome. Like, you're such a go-getter, and you think of these ideas and you just go after it and do it. And so did you started everything in 2020 when COVID started?
Yeah, that's when I started Navajo Mike's.
Okay. And look how far you've come in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much doubled revenue every year, and I've been to Canada. I've been all over the country. I've my stuff's all over the country as well. I mean, it's just, I never thought I would have done stuff like this. And the only thing you have to do is just have a decent idea and then slowly go. I mean, because the thing is that in the first year, I think I made like $8,000 the entire year starting off. And I just thought it was crazy that I even made that much just for something I created. And I was like, I made $8,000 worth. I made that out of barbecue sauce. That's insane. It's just one of those things where you think, you have the simplest idea that you can really make it into something. You just have to take it and do it. It's one of those, oh yeah, that would be cool. Nah, I'm moving on. It's just, no, like, you think it's cool, then really, look at the market, look at everything that you have to do it. If you do that, you just got to keep going. And then next thing you know, you'll have two companies, and 2.5 years now, I've not had a job like working for someone else. I've been on my own doing this. I think that's pretty successful. I'm pretty happy with that.
I think that's very successful. And I think, you're saying just keep working at it, but I also think that speaks to you, your tenacity and your drive, and that you're a hard worker. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I would definitely say that you're dedicated, you're passionate to what you do. I think the product is outstanding, and like I said, really delicious. I buy it, and I give it as gifts, and people always love your stuff.
Awesome.
I do have a question, though. So for our listeners, do you do any kind of cooking demos if they were to contact you and want to like do a cooking demo on like the barbecue sauce or the hot sauce?
Not yet. I am in the works of actually getting a smoker trailer, and I want to start doing pop-up events, which can lead to catering. So I definitely want to, that's definitely going to be a thing soon. Hopefully within the next holiday season comes in. But I do YouTube videos for anyone out there that, on YouTube, you want to check out what I'm cooking. I always do cooking videos. Just type in Navajo Mics. We have a couple right now, a bunch of stories. And then, just go to our website, sign up for our newsletter. I always update and let people know when the new video's coming. I do them all in my garage, and I don't have AC yet. So I'm hoping within the next week or two I'm going to have AC in here. It's just that's the reason why I haven't been doing videos lately, just because it's been so hot.
All right, so question for you. All right, so I know we're also almost out of time. I wanted to find out, how can our listeners find more information about Navajo Mics, Dene Decoratives, and contact you, find out about YouTube, your newsletter? Where can they go for all the information?
So just go for anything Navajo Mics related. Just go to NavajoMics.com. Any of our social media platforms, at Navajo Mics. If you'd like to get a hold of me, shoot me an email, info@NavajoMics.com. We're also on Amazon. You can check out all our Amazon products on there. And for Dene Decorative, just go to DeneDecorative.com. I have my email set up on there too. It's info@DeneDecorative.com. Yeah, that's the best way to reach me.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future, because I know it's going to be something exciting, and looking forward to seeing you at some time soon, and also if you do pop-ups. So thanks for coming on, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Coming up on Native Talk Arizona, Chris Hosnick will tell us about Dene Kids Film Club. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix. 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 8800 North 22nd Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy, and on the phone with us today is Chris Hoshnick. He's the director of Dene Kids Film Club. Hello, Chris, and welcome to Native Talk Arizona.
Hi, Susan. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And I have a son who's a filmmaker, so I'm really interested in learning more. But before we get started, tell us about yourself and your journey.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my name is Chris. I'm a Navajo poet, playwright, and filmmaker. I was actually raised in Sweetwater, Arizona until my grandfather passed right around 12 years old. Then from there, I moved to Phoenix with my family and have lived here since. But I actually started my filmmaking journey when I used to watch a lot of Japanese anime television series on the reservation. They used to come on weekly with new episodes, and at one point, I believe a season ended, and I was so desperate to find out what happened that I would handwrite scripts of the next episodes, and sometimes even spin-offs of other characters I really liked. I was also really obsessed with wrestling and enamored by the narratives they were telling. Story's always been so integral for me, even as a child. I was also an avid reader, so much so that I was also writing short stories and plays from those texts. Reading and writing really have been a huge part of my life. I can't remember a time when I wasn't doing it. But later I attended community college in Phoenix, making short films, many of which were experimental. My most recent short, Ozzy, premiered at the Jerome International Film Festival in 2018. But I ended up taking a break after that until I went back to school at ASU, where I worked full-time, and most of my courses were online. But as of now, I'm studying poetry at the Institute of American Indian Arts remotely. And the online experience has always been seen as a bad thing, but I actually benefited from it. I'm very much a homebody, and without the internet, I wouldn't have had the kinds of opportunities that I've had over the years.
Okay, so it's like a circuitous route, I guess it's sort of. So how did you get from poetry to film?
I was actually a huge reader and writer, and I was almost always alone. But I was also hungry for a community. There wasn't anything for what I was interested in when I was younger, no film club or book club. All the other kids weren't really into reading or writing like I was. On and off the reservation, there was a kind of policing of interest on the reservations from other kids, so a lot of my hobbies weren't thoroughly explored. There's a film called I Saw the TV Glow, directed by Jane Schoberun, that showcases that ostracization in media being the only form of escapism. And I like to think of that as pretty close to my experience growing up. But as far as falling into poetry from filmmaking, it was really the language of film that really got me. Film is a visual language, and so is poetry. And so in poetry, we like to call nouns images. And I think that's so interesting because in film, it's the same exact rhetoric we use when we're talking about screenplays. And so I'm just always fascinated in the visual aspects of poetry and in film. And I've done so. I've even gone to incorporate a lot of my film practices into my poetry, creating video poems as well.
Oh, that's cool. So are you a producer, editor, director, everything?
I pretty much do a lot of my own directing, writing, and producing. Editing, not so much. I find editing just a little tedious, but if need be, I'm happy to do it. But it's something that I've always done. I have a lot of directors usually have a vision when they walk into a project. For myself, I always see it from the point of writing a screenplay from the very beginning. I see what I'm trying to achieve, and so having an editor in the room or having someone else direct it or produce it alongside me almost feels like I'm losing my own sense of vision along the way. But I also am hungry for, again, the community in that as well. So it's interesting. It's kind of one of those things where film is really pushing me to start collaborating, to really become a part of the community and really ask important questions along the way. Something that I think poetry, ironically, doesn't allow you to do because you're writing in a room by yourself, but film forces you to go out and find people to collaborate with. So yeah, that's what I really love about film.
Very cool. All right. So well, then how did you start the Dineff Kids Film Club? Like, was there a reason, or was it just something you woke up one morning and said, hey, I need to do this? And what inspired you to start this?
Yeah. I want to start by saying that I didn't actually get to see a book written by a native writer inside of a bookstore until I was in my mid-20s. And the first time I saw a native on film was in Indian in the Cupboard in the 90s. The first being a little too late, I would say, and seeing something like that, and the second having showcased the stereotypical representation of Native people. It kind of gets lonely. But again, community always starts from experience for me. So knowing if I was exposed to great representation earlier, I think I would have started my creative writing and filmmaking journey earlier. And it was because of this lack of community and representation that I was experiencing that I was fueled to start Dineff Kids Film Club.
All right, Chris, let me ask you, so what is the purpose of the Dineff Kids Film Club, and what are you hoping to get out of it, or having the youth get out of it? Is it exposure to film? Is it thinking about production, acting? Is it everything? What's your thought process? Is this something new that you've just starting, or you're starting? I know that your event is coming up in June. So tell us a little bit more about that.
About the event or the project as a whole?
Both. I think the project as a whole, and then we can talk about the event.
Okay.
It's interesting to me that you're thinking that, getting youth interested in film. I mean, I'm not sure what ages. Generally, I know you said that when you were younger that interested you, but I'm wondering, is that something today with all the youth and all the gaming and social media? Are you interested in film today, or is that something you want to cultivate? I know they're on screens a lot. So what's sort of your thought process with that?
What I envision for Dineff Kids Film Club is to invite writers and filmmakers and film experts of all backgrounds to give specifically Indigenous youth knowledge and the language and information needed to explore beyond what is shown at theaters and what is in streaming services, which are often presented as the only form of media. My biggest question walking into this literacy project, I like to call it a community literacy project, Dineff Kids Film Club, is what does it mean to only consume stories of suburban teenagers and a horror film? What is that doing to us? And so I always come to this statistic from the Indigenous effect, that Native people in film are reported that specifically the Native youth have some of the lowest high school graduation and college enrollment rates. And so I was really driven by that fact that academia can open a lot of diasporic storytelling, and especially when it comes to analyzing a story and reading a story, reading the subtext of a story, and giving insight into those different identities and cultures. I believe that stories create empathy and community, and something I think young Native adults really need right now is to just have that connection.
I know there's not a lot of, or maybe there is, and I just don't know, but a lot of Indigenous film outlets. I know there's what is it, the LA Skins Festival?
Mm-hmm.
And are there, and didn't Sundance also have an Indigenous section or part of it?
Yeah. A lot of these other programs that are around right now are really for seasoned filmmakers, but I wanted to tap into kids a little bit younger than that, 13 years and older, young adults, or just anyone who is Indigenous and has not really had the experience to see what it's like to be on a film set or create a story and write it as a screenplay. So this is really to kind of start to cultivate that idea into the different avenues you could walk into, whether that's academia, scholarship, film criticism, if you want to make your own film on your own. That's something that I advocate for, is really to start moving and creating these stories and see what we could do with these stories to bring them to the world. It's really about starting and creating and starting a community from a place that. Sorry, I'm kind of going a little off at the end here.
No, it's okay. It's interesting because, I think that's probably a good age, right? Like when you're saying 13 and up, they're starting to get interested maybe in their future, a little bit more mature, thinking, I'm interested in this. How do I get started? Film. I mean, the sets that I've been on are a lot more complicated than people realize, lighting and sound and grips and everybody else. And that's probably a great age to introduce them to say, hey, you know what, you're thinking about making a film. It's not, you're just not just taking your phone and doing a 10-second short. You've got to think through your screenplay. You've got to edit it. You've got to have, producer, director, editors, actors, casting. And I assume that 13 is probably a good age to start that, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think, especially for me, I think when I was at that age, I didn't know the mechanics of a film. And so I think what's really interesting is that we're always pushing the idea of a director or a writer or even a producer. But, kids who are interested in film but don't want to pursue those larger roles, there's very, very important roles on the ground level as well. There's a lot of roles underneath the art director, production designers. These are roles that are absolutely needed to make the authentication of a film shine. These are the people that really make the director look their best. We don't see these directors up there herald without the people underneath them. So I think that guiding these kids into careers that they didn't know existed before is something that I really want to advocate for. And that's what I mean when I say community, is if a child is interested in directing and someone else is not, but they found their love in production design, you have a team right there to create a visual language. And I think that that's something that's very, very important for me, and starting them very young to kind of create this community and grow into a community where they can walk into places like Sundance or LA Skin Fest and say, hey, we have this strong team with this great project. We've been working since we were 13. That's inspiring for me. I think that's the true story of any work.
I think that's a good point, because not everybody can be the producer or the director or the actor, but it takes all the supporting cast and to be a great team to make a film successful. And it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time and a lot of passion. Mm-hmm. And so that's a great idea to start them early and thinking about it. So I don't, we look at a lot of stuff at Native Health. We interview a lot of people. We look at a lot of social media. I don't see anything else like this. Is there anything else out there like this, or is this something new and really unique?
I am actually not certain. I do know, I would definitely say that a good friend of mine, Kim Drake, who started Endin Girls Book Club, has really,
awesome.
really been.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I know they're they were just in Alaska. Yep.
Oh yeah, and her book drop she did on the Navajo Reservation was monumental. I can't even imagine what that's like to have access to that kind of literature, especially with the age group she's working with, which is probably a bit younger than where I'm working with. But as far as getting literature out there, I think that's half the battle. I think the next step is to really help these kids really understand the text that they're reading and really analyze the stories that they're consuming and say, hey, this is something that is working with our community, this is working against our community, and having an opinion of their own. And then not only that, but, seeing that, okay, these are writers. How did these writers get the careers that they have? That's always an interest of mine when I was growing up is, I still have questions about how much money does it take to make a movie, or how much money does it take to write a book? These are very important questions that a lot of Native writers and artists talk about. And I'm not sure what's stopping everyone from talking about these kinds of things. Maybe it's just that everyone has different stories, and we don't want to say that someone was, someone received something that another one didn't. But it's this transparency I feel like that we all need, that we really need to start talking about what are the steps to becoming something like a production assistant, or what if I don't want to be a writer? What if I want to be a publisher? There's great publishers like Amber McCrory out there who are doing the work. And those are career roles that I think are not often talked about. And I would like for Danette Kids Film Club to really start talking about things like that.
So I know you've got an event coming up in June, and I'm not sure when this is going to air. We're going to try to get it to air before the event, but if we don't, so the film club is going to be, I know there's an in-person event, and then you've got 4 virtual programs following that, correct?
Yeah, we have a couple different virtual events following the in-person event. So the virtual events are going to be completely different from each other. We do have a directing horror and comedy. We actually do have a film criticism course on the film that just came out, Sinners by Ryan Coogler, by this amazing filmmaker, local filmmaker in Phoenix, Stephen Luna. And then we also have really cool workshops on pitch decks, which is something exactly like what we're talking about. Nobody talks about the lookbook or the pitch deck when we're creating screenplays, but this is something that we run into as screenwriters when we're trying to pitch our stories to financiers, to say, hey, this is our story, and this is what we want our screenplays to look like, to feel like. And so it makes the selling of that screenplay a lot easier. And this is something that a lot of programs in academia don't really touch on. And we do have Sabrina Salahi, who is actually teaching a course on that, and Natalie Benali, who's doing a self-tape audition course on how to do auditions from home. And so this has kind of been a big thing since COVID, and she's kind of been an advocate for it, and she's excelled on it. And I think this is how she landed her role in Dark Winds. And so those are just different things, the ins and outs of the industry, and how you can work in other mediums like poetry as well to kind of bring to the screenplay. As far as the event goes at Palabra's bookstore on June 12th, it'll be various writers from different backgrounds reading works, kind of a traditional poetry reading, a celebration of what these artists are doing in their work. We have Tate Walker, who's actually a really great community member here in Phoenix, does a lot of work for Indigenous people. Yeah.
Yep.
And so we have many of these people that are going to be presenting work, and we want to showcase them as artists to say, hey, these people are around. If you need to talk to them about how they were able to produce their books or what their writing process is like, that's what the event is truly about, is to just start opening that dialogue and opening that gateway for younger people to say, hey, that was great reading, or I've followed you for a long time, or I've heard of you and I have questions. And that's really the purpose of the campfire night at Palabras.
Well, and then also you see somebody and you can do that too.
Oh yeah.
Great role models and somebody that will talk to them and speak to them, and not somebody who's kind of untouchable that, I think a lot of times you think, oh, I can never talk to that person. They'll never talk to me. They'll never acknowledge, somebody who's well known in circles. So I think that what a great event. So the virtual camp, so you're going to have the in-person, and then you're having, I believe, 4 virtual sessions, correct?
As of now, we've built quite a few other members. A few other workshop leaders have actually joined. I believe we have close to 7 workshops. So it's just been building since, and a lot of them have seen the project. They are hand-selected, so I wouldn't ask someone who I wouldn't want to be a part of this project or didn't feel comfortable that, somebody who's like a 16-year-old kid reaches out and says, hey, I have more questions on my lookbooks or on the audition tapes. These are artists who are willing to converse with their community and talk a little bit more in depth after the workshop if needed on what exactly they were going over in that 2-hour slot. So these are members I really, really trust in my own work as well. And so having them on board means a lot to me. They're here for the kids, for anyone really, to answer their questions if they have any worries about the industry that they're in. These people have been through it, so they'll definitely have time for everybody.
So the events are for so the one in person, obviously parents can bring their teens, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the virtual ones, so is it can people just sign up for each one, or do they need to do the entire series? And I know there's no cost, correct?
Yeah, the camps are no charge. They're actually going to be open to all communities, not just Indigenous communities. So if anyone out there has heard of, Indigenous artists out there and want to kind of they kind of want to join the community and see what we're doing and what exactly is going on with Indigenous storytelling, they can definitely join in. There is a Google form on our website, DenetKidsFilmClub.org, where they can sign up for all the courses, or they can select just one course if they'd like. They don't have to take every single one of them. It's open to the public again, and every person who does sign up actually is eligible to for a raffle that we're running at the end of the summer, which is a mini library. Each one of our workshop members is going to select a book that they want to include in the library, and a few other little things like subscriptions to independent film streaming services. And we'll be raffling 2 of those off at the end of the summer to everybody who's joined the workshops over the summer.
Wow, it sounds amazing, like a labor of love. Are you thinking, I would see this just from the way you're so totally passionate, and I think it's such a great idea. Do you see this going forward, like outside of the summer, like that you would do it monthly if you got funding to continue something like this, or in-person workshops, or both? Have you given that any thought yet?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I actually would love to turn this summer camp into an in-person event eventually. Just to be cool to have kids from 13 to 17 come to summer camp on the reservation, just like they would in the movies. That's something I personally never got to experience. I don't think a lot of reservations had that kind of experience. I think it's always only been seen in film, and so giving them that opportunity to go away for a couple weeks and meet a bunch of artists and writers and get to learn alongside them, even make a short film that summer. That's something I would definitely love to do. I think that's something that's really been a driving passion of mine, is to turn this summer camp into a full-fledged in-person event every summer.
So, and now that you're talking about it, I have a couple questions sort of off topic. One, what is the Navajo Nation? What is it? The Navajo Nation Film Board? Is that what it's called? I was just curious. Like, do they do anything like that, or do anything with you or for you?
As of right now, we are not affiliated, but I'm open to collaboration. All of the projects that I'm working on are independent and community driven. So I'm pretty much on the ground, working with a lot of these workshop leaders and trying to get interest. But as far as where the Navajo Nation Film Office is at, I would definitely love to collaborate and see what else we could do to maybe get this off the ground to create an actual in-person summer camp for kids on the reservation.
How cool would that be?
Oh yeah.
Like, we've had a lot of Indigenous filmmakers on here, screenwriters and producers and directors, and it's really always interesting. I mean, I think there's a common thread. It would be so great to do that. I hope somebody who listens or watches or knows somebody would donate some money and make all of this a reality and get these kids interested in film. I mean, I just think there's such opportunities. Yeah. So, okay, a couple more questions for you. If somebody's interested in wanting to learn more about film or media making, is there a place to go? Like, we talked a little bit about Sundance or LA Skins. or anything. But is there like a general place that you would start?
Yeah, I'm being biased, but I would definitely start with the workshop leaders in our virtual workshops. I know quite a few of them have done various projects with Sundance and without Sundance. So they've seen it all, I think, starting there and asking questions as to how they were able to gain the fellowships and residencies they've received over the past couple of years. How they're able to receive funding for their short films. That's a really great question for them to answer. It all starts at community, I think. That's the entire purpose of these workshops, is for someone to come along, meet someone like Natalie, meet someone like Danielle Emerson, and say, hey, I have a question, and really cultivate that mentorship from them. I think that's my biased answer. I would definitely ask them and see how they're navigating the art world and the film world, and maybe find your interest in something you didn't know you had to begin with. I never thought in my wildest dreams I would ever be interested in writing poetry as an actual profession. And now here I am at in my Masters of Fine Arts at IAIA, where I get to be mentored alongside these great poets, and I'm learning a lot from poetry that I can bring to film. A lot of poetry work is community work, and I think film is kind of deprived of that right now. And it's something that I'm so happy to bring over to that industry.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that, and I think it's important that you're going to have the Kids Film Club, and you're saying they should talk to the mentors, because they're not untouchable, and that they're open to talking and open to mentoring and guiding and providing advice. And I think that's always the first step, especially when you're 13, 14, 15, trying to get your footing and where do you fit in the world? How do you relate? What's your future look like? I think that's a great opportunity. I hope a lot of people come out to the June 12th event at Palabras. I think that sounds like a great event, and the poetry, and getting people interested in poetry. It's a beautiful art form, and obviously you're very distinguished and good at what you do. We're almost out of time, but I want to find out, how can our listeners find more information about the Danette Kids Film Club? How can they contact you? Do you have any social media, website? How would you suggest that they reach out?
Yeah, we actually are on Instagram. Our handle is Danette Kids Film Club. We're still working towards other social media handles, so we'll get that out as soon as we can. But we do have a website, DanetteKidsFilmClub.org, where we do have our summer camp schedule. Any information needed that you want to know more about us is there. We actually do have a contact form there as well. You can contact. I'm pretty quick about it. I love conversing. I love questions. If you have questions about anything that is not film related, I'm more than happy to direct you to someone who has those answers for those other questions for you.
And are you also okay if people want to talk about poetry?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, Chris, it's been awesome talking to you. I really hope this is successful. I hope that your dream comes true and that you are able to do a film camp up at Navajo and get a lot of kids into it. But even so, down in Phoenix, I really encourage people to check it out and hopefully sign up for this and meet with those mentors and learn and take the first step to a career in filmmaking and or poetry. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listentokrdp.com.